Honorable Speaker, I present the interim budget for 24-25.
The union budget is more than just numbers. It's a financial blueprint that shapes the nation's economy and social trajectory. Over the years, governments have sought to balance economic growth with social equality through budgetary allocations. With Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman set to present her 8th budget, let's take a look at how India's budgets have evolved since independence. November 1947 marked the presentation of India's first ever budget by R.K. Shanmugham Shetty. The nation was reeling from the economic burden of partition coupled with a military conflict with Pakistan. A staggering 47% of total expenditure was allocated to defense, and the fiscal deficit stood at 21%. To finance its expenses, the government relied heavily on taxation, aiming to generate over 80% of its income from taxes. In contrast, today, defense expenditure has reduced to 8%, while borrowings and liabilities make up one-third of receipts. Since 1947, India has seen 92 union budgets, including 12 interim budgets presented before elections. Nirmala Sitharaman will table her 8th and the country's 93rd budget. Morarji Desai holds the record for presenting most budgets at 10, followed closely by P. Chidambaram with 9. Budget day is often a roller coaster ride for Indian markets. In the past 20 budgets, the Sensex has reacted negatively 11 times and positively 9 times, with the highest single-day gain of 5% in 2021. While most sectoral indices show mixed reactions, auto, FMCG and technology stocks have historically benefited in over 55% of instances. India introduced gender budgeting in 2005-2006 to track allocations benefiting women. Over the years, the share of funds allocated to women-centric schemes has hovered around 5%, rising to 6.8% last year. These schemes are categorized into fully women-specific programs and those partially addressing women's development. Taxation has been a cornerstone of India's revenue generation. Since 2009-2010, central government tax receipts have remained around 7% of GDP after briefly surpassing 8%. Meanwhile, non-tax revenues have declined, mostly staying below 2%. In FY25, the government projected an 11.7% increase in gross tax revenue and a 45.2% increase in non-tax revenues over the revised FY25 estimates. One of the most defining budgets in India's history was presented on July 24, 1991 by then Finance Minister Manmohan Singh. Faced with a balance of payments crisis, collapsing Soviet trade relations and double-digit inflation, India had only $1.1 billion in forex reserves, barely enough for 2 weeks of imports. The 1991 budget ushered in economic liberalization, setting the foundation for decades of growth. India's fiscal deficit has witnessed significant fluctuations. Initially below 5% of GDP, it has surged to 8.3% in 1980s due to increased subsidies and welfare spending, leading to the 1991 crisis. Post-reform measures aimed to keep it at a sustainable level, with the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act of 2003 setting a 3% target by 2007 and 2008. However, due to COVID-19 and financial restructuring, the deficit hit 9.2% in 2020-2021. The government now aims to reduce it to 4.5% by 2025-2026, but the long-term goal of 3% remains elusive. Interim budgets presented before elections ensure continuity in government spending. Since 2000, India has had 5 interim budgets. Historically, when the ruling party retained power, the main budget figures remained largely unchanged. However, in cases where a new government took charge, budget estimates tended to increase post-elections. Last year was an exception, as the interim budget had a lower spending estimate than the subsequent main budget. Only 3 prime ministers have presented the budget while in office, that is Jawaharlal Nehru in 1958, Indira Gandhi in 1970 and Rajiv Gandhi in 1987. Nehru briefly held the finance portfolio twice but without presenting a budget. Manmohan Singh's 1991 budget speech was the longest in terms of words at 18,650. However, in 2020, Nirmala Sitharaman set the record for the longest speech by time, clocking in at 2 hours and 42 minutes. In contrast, the shortest budget speech was just 800 words, delivered by Dhirubhai M. Patel in 1977. Over the past 16 years, 42 ministries and departments have received less than 1% of total budget allocations. Meanwhile, the finance and defense ministries consistently receive over 50% of total outlays, with 39% and 13% respectively in 2025. From managing post-partition turmoil to navigating economic reforms, India's budgets have played a crucial role in shaping its fiscal landscape. As the nation awaits the next budget, the challenge remains the same: balancing economic growth with social welfare while ensuring long-term sustainability. What will the upcoming budget hold? For more news and updates, keep watching Live Mint.